maybe we'll get some more Streets pictures this week. And yeah, but this will be live early next week on all the platforms. Dude, suck that sweet, sweet copium. I'm just like... What's up, everybody? Welcome to the podcast, the show dedicated to talking about all the progress things in life, like music, content creation, and video games. I'm one of your co-hosts, Jesse Kazam.
And I'm Veritas, and I know how to count to 55.
To 55.
And I will tell you how to do it. Faster than you can say boop-de-poop-de pants.
Boop-de-poop. I apologize.
All the boomers, all the 30-plus-year-olds in the audience will get that. Everybody else will just think up cringe.
I apologize in advance for the coughing. I'm going to try and mute. I'm sick again. It's been a week, bro. Already. It's only Thursday.
Must be nice to know that your cough is going to go away. You should see my Go XLR. There's one button where the icon covering
faded.
Is worn off.
Yeah.
And it's the mute button.
Bro, I'm telling you,
button.
the cough has stayed with me since the last time I was sick, and then I just got sick again. So it didn't go away. It's been...
I don't think I talked about what I've been dealing with for probably 85% of my life for the better part of a decade. It has to do with acid reflux. I've never actually had heartburn. Okay. But acid reflux, and what happens is the acid, it irritates the part of your esophagus. Basically, it's the sphincter, the thing that closes when you swallow, and it causes that to spasm. So what it feels like is, you ever just take a sip of a drink and accidentally a little bit goes down the wrong pipe,
and
you gotta it takes a couple minutes to cough it out. It's like that for me, 24/7,
just forever.
I mean, and there's none of the no medication has ever helped. And there's basically two things I could possibly do. One is surgery, but that's not guaranteed to fix it. And the other is give up every single thing. What makes it worse? Caffeinated drinks, hot drinks.
Really?
Carbonated
drinks. That's what
So it's like energy drinks, coffee, tea.
It's like drink water for the rest of your life, or...
Yeah.
Damn.
So,
that's brutal.
Yeah. And then the worst part was... I actually was going to get surgery. It's called a Nissen fundiplication.
Wow. Nissen fundiplication.
Yeah. They take your stomach and they wrap it around itself. It's purely a mechanical physics solution. They don't actually have to cut anything. It's really interesting.
That's crazy.
But in order to figure out if I was a candidate, they have to do a procedure called a manometry. Now, let me explain to you. This is fun story time.
Okay.
Because this is the worst thing that's ever happened to me. I've ruptured my spleen, broken ribs, broken my collarbone, I've broken my arm, my hand, my foot, dislocated my knee, all sorts of things. And this was the worst experience I ever had. So there's a catheter, and the catheter is, this rubber tube that was, I want to say the size of a pencil, a number 2 pencil. I don't think I'm exaggerating, but I'm sure someone's I'm a nurse practitioner and 17 millimeters. I don't know. It was huge is what it seemed like. And what they do is they give you a tiny little topical cream in the inside of your nose. Wait about 8 seconds, which is not long enough to numb anything. And they stick the tube up your nose, down your throat, all the way into the base of your stomach.
I'm done. Just kill me. I'd rather die.
It's not even the worst part. It's not even the worst part. If anybody, this is a content warning for anybody that doesn't because, fast forward about 3 minutes. Inside of the tube are these metal, almost ball bearings. And what happens is, while you're I'm just standing there, not moving.
Yeah.
You're not sedated. There's nothing. You're perfectly nothing. And you can feel this tube inside you. It's miserable. And what they do is they have a full glass of saline, salt water. And the nurse, and they put a little bit of tape over like your nose and to like hold the thing in place, but like that doesn't work. And what she does is she syringes out the saline and squirts it into your mouth and you swallow.
Oh my god.
So you're swallowing
with the
tube up your nose and down your throat. And the whole point is those little metal ball bearings or whatever's in there. It basically measures how strong your esophagus is to make sure it's like strong enough to handle the surgery. So now about halfway through, and you have to go through the whole cup, by the way. It was like the longest like 6 minutes of my life. The problem is that halfway through, and it's like this like refrigerator thing with this machine, all these knobs, and then the tube comes out, and it's like this. The nurse stepped on the catheter.
Shut.
And it ripped it out about 1.5 feet. I instantly projectile puked up all of the salt water. The only thing that makes me feel okay about the situation is that I basically puked all over her Crocs and her stupid blue pants. It was just like, it was the worst. Dude, it hurt so bad. And then she's like, we got to stick it back in and keep going. Otherwise, because we're not done.
No. Nope.
I just sat there with my eyes like watering, like it was the worst thing ever. And you know what the worst part is? Afterwards, they're like, okay, so you're a candidate for the surgery. But then my cough went away for like 2 months. So I'm like, I'm not going to get the surgery. I think it's cured. And then fast forward, 6 months or a year or whatever.
Whatever you did to me cured it.
Yeah, fast forward a year, and all of a sudden the cough's back, and now it's like you got to procrastinate going to the doctor. So I finally got the ball rolling, and I'm gonna go see a gastro and an enterologist, and probably have to get the surgery. But that's what I've been dealing with. People are like, oh, you have COVID, or you're sick, dude, and I constantly have to be like, oh, it's related to a GERD,
my esophageal sphincter.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's the most convoluted ever. But yeah, that's my life.
Rip.
It's now or never.
Rip. Yeah, no, I don't know about all that noise. We just have a revolving cold that goes between the four of us.
Yeah.
We found out that my oldest has like bad allergies. I have really bad allergies. I'm like allergic to the state of Florida. Like, have you ever had like a stick test done when you were a kid?
Because you're not 72.
Yeah.
So,
have you ever had a stick test done to test what you're allergic to?
Not that I can remember.
They can do they do it on your arm, and it's like a 3x3 grid, and they prick you. It doesn't hurt.
Dude, I've seen every episode of House. Of course, I know exactly what.
So 3x3 grid, and then if it wells up just like a mosquito bite, a little itchy, then you're allergic to these 7 things or whatever. Well, they did one on my back, and they did an 8x8 grid, and every single one except one of them rose up like I was allergic. And they handed my parents a full 8.5x11 with like size 2 font of things I'm allergic to. So it was like, I am allergic to like oak trees, gum trees, pine trees, pollen, dust, cats, dogs, like St. Augustine grass. Like I am allergic to
everything. I guess I would say I'm similar. Like I just have I've just always referred to it as seasonal allergies.
Yeah.
Everything outside and everything that's like cuddly and soft.
Exactly. Even though we had dogs and cats. Anyway, so we found out that my oldest probably has some allergies too, because like he went out and played at this new park. But like, try explaining to a 4-year-old that like your eyes are like you're constantly crying, you're constantly eyes are watering, but you're okay, and your nose is constantly watering. And he doesn't know how to blow his nose very good. So it's just like constant rubbing of eyes, nose, and everything. And he's miserable. He's just like crying, just like weeping. And it's like, you're okay. Like, but how do you convince them they're okay? Because they're like, I don't feel okay. But it's like, you're not sick. We can't give you
just give him like 3 Claritin and he'll sleep for a week. And basically, it's a win-win. It's a win-win.
Basically. And so that's been absolutely brutal because woof.
So this episode was going to be an auditory nightmare for both of us, and
pretty much. But
dog, I haven't been. It's been a long time since any content affected me in a way that like scared me. It was like the first one was The Ring when I was like 12 or whatever.
Yeah.
The Ring really messed with me, no, it wasn't really that bad. The DVD menu, I fell
I
asleep
couldn't watch
one
it right
day
now.
with like the DVD menu, like you know how it plays like 60 seconds and then like repeats
Oh,
over and
yeah.
over again. I'm pretty sure it's like the girl crawling out of the thing, and I think I like fell asleep and like woke up to it, and yeah, it freaked me out. And then the next one was Signs.
Bro.
Seeing that the one scene where he
Yep.
walks by, that one, it's like, oh, it still gets me every time, because
Yep.
it's like, oh god, yeah, nope.
It's a good movie.
And then it wasn't until somehow I ended up on, you know what, I think it was like a Wendigo. Have you heard of Wendigo? I don't remember. I think it was one of the viewers recommended Wendigo to me. But he did a video. Oh, you know what? It wasn't him, but he also did a video on it that was really good. Have you ever heard of? Oh, God, this is a rabbit hole.
Oh God.
Have you ever heard of the Backrooms?
No. And I'm already.
Have you ever heard of liminal spaces?
Yeah, that sounds super familiar.
It's like Stanley Parable. Have you ever seen it or played it or watched a playthrough of it?
Oh, is that a game? No.
Christ. Oh God. Okay. Well, you have homework.
Okay.
Imagine an office building, like a massive office building with like neon, like but pure yellow walls, like this ugly yellow walls.
Okay.
The ugly like taupe carpet or whatever, and it's just like the open areas of like an office building, but there's nothing there. There's no desks. There's nothing. There's nobody there. It's all you hear is the hum of the lights and like a weird. That is an example of a liminal space. It's basically you know what the uncanny valley, when you look at like a robot face and it's just a little off, and how that makes you feel uncomfortable. The way I think of liminal spaces, it's like the uncanny valley is for faces, liminal spaces are for places.
Gotcha.
Holy,
wow!
I am spitting fire.
Bars.
It was the Eminem from last week that wow, I'm a poet. But yeah, so that's just a rabbit hole I went down. I'm not even going to be able to explain it. But then there was that, and then there was another. I don't even know what it is. I don't even know. Oh my God, I need to. This might have to be one of those ones that we like link to. But I just want to give you an idea real quick of what we're talking about here, because here, let me. Okay. Oh my God, Christ. Yeah, dude. I'm like the description I can give you, the kind of the synopsis is, imagine like anybody at any time, you can basically just like phase into or out of our sort of reality.
Okay.
And you wake up in this weird thing known as the Backrooms. And it was a video that was like how to survive the Backrooms.
Oh my God.
And it was like, like don't stray too far from where you started. If you see like a wall that's slightly darker than anything, like do not go near it. If you see anything, like don't make eye contact, but don't run. It's like this. I can't even explain it to you. You'll just have to watch it. You'll have to go and watch the video by Kane Pixels, the Backrooms found footage. It's got 40 million views. It's
so is this just like somebody
I think
makes
it came
this
from like a creepypasta?
Yeah. Okay.
Like,
yeah.
Yeah. This is just some other thing, and then
Perfect around Halloween time.
Oh yeah, true. There's also another video that I can't remember who it was, but it was talking about. Oh wait, let me Google it, because this is the thing that like the Backrooms didn't really sketch me out, but like the recommended video from that,
oh God,
really sketched me out. Like really sketched me out. I'm trying to think. Um, oh man, I'm not gonna remember the terminology. Maybe might have to come back to it.
Yeah.
Uh, I hate that I can't think of it.
But you just went down this like creepy, sketchy YouTube rabbit hole of
Yeah, man. And
existential dread.
oh god, the horrifying thing is in this other story that I'm scrolling through my history, and hopefully I'll find before I get to the end of this like paragraph. It's essentially like, oh, you know what? I think it was another Wendigoon video. That might have been how I came across the backrooms thing. But oh god, I'm never gonna be able to do this here. Like, why don't you tell us for the next 90 seconds if there's ever anything that's ever scared you, ever? And then I'm gonna scroll through my history and pretend like I'm listening.
I feel like I've never been able to ever find something in my history that I actually watched. Like, it's like always the most frustrating thing. Dude,
True.
Screw that noise. I do not like getting scared. The scariest movie I've probably ever seen in my entire life is the movie Signs with Mel Gibson. Like, dude, I've never been to a haunted house. I don't do that. I just don't do scary stuff. I mean, I'm scared of things, but like, I don't do scary stuff, man. No, sir. No, sir, not me.
Okay. All right. I saw October 29th. I'm scrolling. It was the same day I watched the Backrooms. I like couldn't sleep because one of the things that it had said was God, I'm skipping details, but basically there are these faces that are like human faces, almost like doppelgangers, but they're like stretched and skewed in sometimes slight ways, sometimes like drastic, and they actually look kind of stupid and ridiculous, but at the same time it's also horrifying. And one of the things is like the way that they communicate with you is, or the only way that they can have like contact is either through like televisions or mirrors. And what happens is like once you like, I don't know, engage with them or talk to them or whatever, then that's almost like you let them into reality, and then they basically try to convince you to harm yourself in a permanent way, and then they basically take over. It's oh god, it's like
That's terrifying,
god, dude. But one of the things, it was like at any point, if you are like sitting there like sleeping with your eyes closed and you think that they're like right in front of you, do not open your eyes. So I'm like, dude, that night I was like lying there and I kept being like opening my eyes and like, okay, nothing there. It took me a couple of days before I was like, it's been like 20 years since, like I used to walk around and like flip a light switch.
Yeah,
and like
for sure.
I would feel uneasy. If I was the last one to go to bed, I'd turn all the lights off and I would kind of like run up the stairs, when I was younger. It's been 20 years since, but there was like a day where I was like, all right, I gotta go brush my teeth. I'm gonna go and hit the light switch, and like I'm just expecting to see this face.
Veritas is like clearing his house with his rifle.
Yeah, see, that's the thing.
Dude.
That's the thing, though. Is like when it comes to those scary things, what made me unscared was like the reasoning that I had was like, if they're supernatural, like I'm not going to be able to fight them. Like bullets aren't going to do nothing. So it's like I shouldn't even worry about trying to fight them.
Yeah. If they're here, it's all over.
They should be able to just instantly, kill me or whatever.
It's already done. Yeah.
Yeah. And then at the same time, it's like there's no, I don't think that there is supernatural. So, one video I watched, which was a creepy one, was from the Maverick Files, called 4 Times 4chan Warned the Internet. That was another video. Then there's the first 13 backroom levels explained.
Bro.
Where is this? You know what? The best part is that I'm like not going to be able to find it.
That's fine.
It's just like you said. It's going to be like the one thing not in
Yeah.
my.
Oh yeah. Of course. In your history.
Yeah. Oh no! I found it. I found it. I found it. The most disturbing, and it is Wendigoon. The most disturbing analog horror story, the Mandela Catalog.
Nope.
Oh God! Oh God! Oh God! Oh God! Oh, okay. I'm gonna let me just give you just this little clip right
I
here.
don't even need it, bro. I just
Yeah.
trust you.
Okay. No.
You
No.
can
No.
give it
No.
to
No.
chat.
No. No. Yeah. 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 So that was that was a super interesting video. Um. God, I hate it, dude. Oh God. Ugh, what a terrible, terrible, ridiculous.
So that's how you spent your Halloween weekend, just going deep down the rabbit hole of the most horrifying YouTube videos you can possibly imagine.
Yeah, man.
Love that.
Yep. And then the last thing on the YouTube topic, and then we can then we can move on to some Tarkov stuff. Is I discovered a channel that I'm a new like massive fan of.
Ooh.
And it is called Bobby Broccoli.
Oh, that's okay. Bobby Broccoli.
That's why I was talking about broccoli. He's got 211,000 subscribers. Now, the video that I watched that like sucked me in is called "The Man Who Tried to Fake an Element." Now, this guy goes through the history of like the like the discovery and like search for all the different elements. You know, and how a lot of that was basically kicked off by the like nuclear, you know, arms race that, you know, started pre-World War II, and then led up to like the 90s. But like if you go into the video, what interested me the most is was the visuals. He made everything in Blender. And
Interesting.
And so he would have a bunch of like flat planes where the pictures were. But then like if you go to 17 minutes and 26 seconds, you can see like he's got the camera and he keyframes the camera flying around, and it's just such a super cool that was not an amazing timestamp I just gave you, but you can just see the camera like fly around in this 3D space. So I'm gonna give that a try. I think
that's super interesting. Yeah.
But yeah, so then here's like the other thing is, you know, when people are like, oh, you know, long videos about, you know, dry topics don't do well, you know, and it's like, well, this isn't
yeah, dude.
20-minute long video
about
the history of this periodic table, and it has 2 million views, you know, and it's like,
yep.
There's always these exceptions to the rules that are like, well, what do you expect? You know, you make a 45-minute long video about it.
Dude.
You know? It's like, ugh.
Yep. The rules always break themselves. I saw that. And I was like, 13 days ago, 2.6 million views. And it's about an element.
Yeah, man. It's a good story though.
That's crazy.
It's a good story.
I need another channel like that.
That's he's got some good stuff. I've only gone through a couple of videos.
That's sick. That's dope.
So what's going on in Tarkov Schmarkov land?
Tarkov Schmarkov land. A whole lot of nothing. The Halloween event ended today, which was unanimously welcomed by the community.
Wait, that's sarcasm, right?
No, everybody was excited for it to be done.
Oh, for it to go away.
Yeah. It was, yeah. Man, it was like,
I thought people were split, like kind of split on it. Was it the majority you think were negative?
I think the majority of the people didn't like the event. And it's sad because there were a lot of parts of the Halloween event that were great, but overall people will only think of that event. Like 6 months from now, people are going to be like, when are we like into whatever next wipe we're in? People are going to be like, yo, when are we going to be events? And everyone's going to be like, you mean like that dog nuts Halloween event? Like it's going to be remembered that way, even though there were really cool aspects. It really feels like, they tasked 2 people and one person was like, make a great event. And then the other guy was like, your job was to like kick the players in the balls at every possible turn. And it's really what it feels like, because like Some of the event was so cool. Like, I thought the Doomed thing was really cool, where there's a counter and then it did like the storm. I loved the fact that they were able to implement like this constant in-raid event where the weather changes for everybody across every server.
Time of day.
The
and everything.
lightning storm was cool. It never rained, but it was just stormy and lightning. I thought that was a really cool thing. Then the darkness would only last for 20 or 30 minutes. So it's not like, oh, well, it's going to be nighttime for 6 hours. Like in 30 minutes, you could go back to playing day raids. It wasn't a whole big deal. The Tagilla Scythe was really cool, and running into him on Factory or any map, I ran into him on Shoreline, was super scary and awesome.
I got to pull up a clip of that because I actually haven't even seen.
Anytime they anytime they increase the spawn rate of cultists, I'm a big fan of, because it's fun fighting them. So like going Night Factory, I found them on Night Customs. We found them on like all over places. It was cool. Some of the other stuff was really cool, like the pumpkin head things that like had the food. Like those were just like, they were just like those things, and you can open them up. Like, oh, that's a cool addition. Like you're all over the place and you can see that it's Halloween. They brought the jack-o'-lantern things back for the scavs. And what was the other thing that I thought was really cool? The trader images, the hideout stuff. There was a lot of really cool stuff. But then there was just like,
all of the like negative
yeah, it was like, who the hell approved this? Like for the Halloween event, they like doubled the chance your gun would malfunction. Why?
God, like
why? Like why? And then the whole like energy drain thing, everybody would spawn with a random buff or debuff. But everybody, 10 out of 10 raids, everybody spawns with energy drain. Your energy's draining faster. And then they wanted to add all these cool buffs to the candy and the juice, anything with sugar in it, because it's Halloween. But then they removed the energy or hydration given from those foods. So now like you find juice, it doesn't give you water. You find a Snickers bar, it doesn't give you food. So now like you have to go find milk or water. And all of those things are more expensive. And you have to buy more of the food because your energy is draining faster, and less items give you food because some of them are just like, haha, Halloween. And like, it was stuff like that where it's like, and it's like you spawn in and then you have a heavy bleed and then you heal it. And you're like, what did this add to my experience? Like,
dude, imagine
I just healed the heavy bleed and now have to use my Salua 7 times because every part of my body is -1 HP. And it was like, that didn't change my experience. Like that didn't do anything. It was just like, I had a heavy bleed for 1 second. You know what I mean? Like, and then once again, they don't tell you what the event is. So so if you spawned in with the poison and you didn't have an antidote on you or an augmentin, you just were going to die. But it's just not letting the player know that. So it's like, it's so hard because this event will definitely go down as a bad event. But I want to give props to the people that did all the cool stuff, because the cool stuff was really cool. The cool stuff was all the cool stuff we got from last year for the most part, plus more cool stuff. And they did a really good job. But it's an example in how like 3 small, really stupid decisions can completely change the perspective. And these little things just got so annoying after like 4 or 5 days of playing that they were like, so like today in my chat, when I've only normally have like 300 or 400 people, I got asked 300 times, is the Halloween event over? Is the Halloween event over? Can I play again? When can I play?
They were all excited, dude.
Tell me
they wanted it to
yeah.
keep going, and they're like, it's not over yet, right? I really have to get home from work and play before it's over.
Yeah, so it's like, I really feel bad because I love when BSG does the events. We were all wanting and desiring an event, but on the other hand, part of me is just like, who looked at that and was just like, this is a good idea.
Dude, imagine
the malfunction chance.
Imagine if when you went into a raid, there was a checkbox that, you know what it reminds me of? God, I'm going to ask you, and you're probably going to say no. Did you ever play Fallout?
Of course.
New Vegas?
Yes.
Did you ever play Wild Wasteland with that trait, that perk?
If I did, it was so long ago, I can't remember.
It adds or changes random encounters or locations that
Oh,
wouldn't appear. So it adds like a bunch of random weird characters randomly
that's
will
funny.
show up, and it just makes it totally wacky. And it, especially if you played a bunch of times,
Yeah.
it adds some replayability, right? Because it's like you never know what's going to happen. I would be fine if players could opt into you get of the some maybe there's an increased malfunction chance, but
Mhm.
like um insert some really interesting benefit
Yes.
that's like twice as good. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to say like a chance to like a fragment, because I don't want something like combat related
Yeah.
necessarily. Well, actually, I mean the malfunction is combat related, but
Yeah.
maybe like make it so that you reload 3 times as fast or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like then it would be opt in and it would be balanced in a
Yeah.
way, right? But yeah, I mean, like you said, just not adding the annoying downsides to the event.
Yeah.
It just, yeah, man.
There's no there's no way you would know unless you were on Twitter. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it would take you a few raids to realize. You would tab and look at your health and be like, what's this little Halloween thing? And it was just like random negative effects. And then for a while, it was supposed to be a random buff and a debuff, but it felt like the buffs weren't happening. So I was spawning with a debuff every time, in addition to the negative energy use. And like, yeah, it would be, and yeah, it'd be interesting if, yeah, it was like opt in, you accept more risk, but more reward. Do you remember when like for 3 days there was that bug where the reload was like twice as fast? It was just like, like,
Vaguely,
dude,
yeah.
it was like, I don't know what they did. Everybody thought it was an event, but they were like, no, this is a bug, and they fixed it. But it was like everybody was running around, was like, like it was crazy. So it's like, if there was like if you really lean into the meme and you give like a lottery of things that could happen, where it was like plus 50% malfunction chance, but plus 200% reload speed, like weird stuff like that could be cool and funny and like almost gun gamey. But
Imagine if there was like a 20% chance that there would be like low gravity or like big head mode or something, right? Like that would be fun.
It would be low gravity factory, would be out of control, dude.
Get rid of fall damage.
Yeah. Bro. That, oh my dude, even just that, getting rid of fall damage would be nuts. But yeah, so that's basically where it was. It was like, I'm really sad because I felt it. After the first 2 or 3 days, I felt it. I was like, this event is going to go down as a terrible event. And I feel really bad for all the people that worked on the really cool stuff. And I want an explanation from whoever the hell approved some of this stuff. Like,
dude, I feel bad for, like, this is one of those things that I think is annoying for someone like you who plays a lot, but it's even worse for a casual. Like, if you only have a chance to have 2 raids, do you really want an inexplicable, completely no anticipation, like on your first raid? You're not going to bring in the things you need to maybe counter. You're not going to bring in like triple food or whatever. You're not going to know. You're not going to double click on to see that the juice doesn't give you energy. You're going to be finding and eating it, getting a bunch of effects, not realizing it, and then dying. If you've only got time for 2 or 3 raids before you got to put the kids to bed, go eat dinner, and it's like,
even
God,
like
sucks,
something as simple as a splash screen that you have to click yes to, where it's like Happy Halloween, and it's like be on the lookout for spooky adventures throughout Tarkov. Something that simple is like a, it's like a
they don't have to spoil it.
It's a get out of jail free card for them, because anything weird that happens, the player is so much more likely to go, oh, I bet that's part of the Halloween event. Or they're so much more likely to like check Twitter real quick.
Twitter. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's insane because their graphics team is S tier. Like, why? That's such low effort to put that in. And it's basically a get out of jail free card for them for that. But it's like they didn't even do that. So I don't know. Like, it's interesting. It's it was very interesting. So yeah, so the event ended and it was, weird. I feel like it ended up doing a little more harm than good to the community sentiment of the game.
I mean, that's a good thing. The community was already like super.
They were super
loving
and and excited and yeah. So that happened, but that's done now. We got 3 more pictures of Streets of Tarkov today on Twitter.
Okay. Did nice guy assemble the blood map?
Troops.
They assembled the blood map from the bottle messages
Oh.
and decode the cipher, and you found out like the time and place that he'll die or whatever. Like,
yeah,
for
sure. No, but I mean, they were cool pictures. One was like a prison cell. Like, that was pretty cool. We hadn't seen that. Everything else was.
You said this was on BSG's Twitter?
Yeah. So it's like 3 pictures.
God. First thing I see is Chief saying, "Yo, Battlestate Games, when we gonna get a Christmas event?"
Oh yeah, I think he was memeing. But the first picture is like a picture we've seen literally 1,000 times. The small picture is like a cool underground bunker, or the second picture, and then the other picture is like down the hallway with like prison cells and stuff like that, which is pretty cool. I mean, like, yeah, I mean, it's we said this the last time that they did pictures. I don't feel anything anymore when I see them. It's like, cool. I'm not gonna. Well, as per usual, Jesse Kazan finds himself in the middle. I'm not going to go on a 70 tweet Twitter thread about how BSG sucks when they post pictures, but I'm also not gonna be like, oh my god, guys, it's happening. You know what I mean? I'm just like, cool, like, cool.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I can't help but think that this prison cell hallway, there'll be like 19 doors, and like 2 of them will be unlocked, and there won't be anything in there to loot, and the rest of them will require keys, but only one of them will have loot.
Yeah.
Unopenable,
pretty much.
No, it looks cool though. It looks cool.
Looks great.
I'm sort of. I mean, this is maybe a little jaded, but like, I'm sick of seeing the same cardboard box turned over with trash on the floor,
funny,
with the red duffel bag next to the bedroll and the candle with the plastic chair. It's like,
listen,
I mean, I literally don't care. Like, it's not a bad thing, but it's like, it'd be cool if these new environments were filled with new stuff as opposed to the same stuff, but.
And we'll see. Like, a lot of the
change, like, the gameplay.
Yeah, and a lot of the environments lend themselves to that, like the prison. Like, I'm interested to see like what kind of assets and stuff like that are inside. We got some of the construction lights, but like some of the other stuff seems weird. Like, there's a ladder in the background and weird stuff that we don't normally see. So we'll see. It's like, yeah, it's like, I totally understand that perspective. It's like we have been like, guys like you and me have been looking at screenshots of Streets of Tarkov since 2018, 2017. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's hard to get excited. I know people that are super pumped. You know what I mean? The fact that they're posting screenshots, I don't know. Take that with whatever you want. Because obviously the, the last information we got from Nikita was that it's coming this year, and they keep posting screenshots. So, maybe we'll get cul-de-sac of Tarkov this year or something like that. Street of Tarkov. Maybe they'll give us a little something. But at the end of the day,
the reason why Streets is like going to be cool for at least a short period of time, like all the other new maps, it comes down to, it's the closest that any veterans will ever get to the feelings that they had when they first started playing, where you don't know. It's the fear of the unknown, right? It's the, you turn a corner and you're like, what's going to be around the corner? Is there going to be somebody there? Is there going to be scavs? Is there going to be a boss? Is there going to be players? You don't know about timings. You don't know about spawns. You don't know how big the map is. Like,
Yep. And there's just going to be a little bit of like subconscious like closure. Like, if you've been playing since 2017, I mean, like in 2019 when they released Reserve, they were like, Streets is next. And then we got 6 expansions and Lighthouse. You know what I mean? So like, there's gonna, there'll just be that. And once again, nobody, a criticism I never hear about Escape from Tarkov is that their map design sucks. So it's like, I expect it to be awesome, even if we get a smaller portion
their maps
of it.
Are unbelievable.
Even if we get a smaller portion of it than we originally, than they wanted, like, it's gonna be sick. It's gonna be fun. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be Streets of Tarkov finally. So hopefully, yeah, I don't know. I mean, we talked about it. It's just like there's just nothing more to be said from like your and my perspective. It's like, and here's the thing. It's like I was talking about this earlier. If you're new to Tarkov, and you're like super excited, sick. Like, you know, don't let the negative Nancy's rain on your parade. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like the game's been out for so long and we've been so jaded by all this stuff. But like, if you get hype about the screenshots, if you're excited for what's coming, like I still get people all the time like, yo, I watch your beginner guides. It's my first wipe and I'm super pumped. I'm like, dude, hell yes. You know what I mean? But at this point, we've talked about Streets of Tarkov 700,000 times on this podcast. So it's like, yeah, they posted pictures. The pictures look cool. We'll see. They said it's coming this year. We've heard that before. There's just like not a whole lot left to say. You know what I mean? So it's like so cool.
Here's the thing. Like nobody should be telling anybody to be excited or not to be excited.
Yeah.
And at the same time, nobody should be butthurt that someone isn't excited because
exactly.
Just if I see a picture and I feel a certain thing and I say this is how I feel, and people get upset by that.
Yeah.
It's like you can be excited. You know?
Exactly.
I'm not gonna. You know, if you're a big Star Wars fan, you know, and they're coming out with a new video, a new movie or whatever, you know, that's different than if you're not a Star Wars fan and the new movie's coming out. Like, they shouldn't be upset at each other where one's super excited and the other's not.
It just doesn't matter. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm sure and it's like the same thing where if I'm going on a vacation, my wife is like this, where she's like, "Are you excited? We're going. It's only a month." I'm like, I feel nothing until I step into Disney through the gates, and it's like, I'm here.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I feel literally dead while I'm on the plane and I'm traveling and I'm in the hotel, and you know, and part of that is probably just, you know, at some point when I was a kid, I probably had one of those like so excited to go somewhere, and then my dad was like, "We're turning the car around," and I never got to go, and so I could never let myself feel that feeling again, you know, probably something like that.
For sure.
But yeah, I mean, it's gonna be, well, the first day is gonna be great because think about another thing that came to mind is, think about if there was no wiki.
Yeah.
And you go to hit O and you double tap and you see West Side Pavilion, underground passage.
Yes.
You know, ZB617.
Yep.
Good luck getting out.
Yeah. See, and enjoy. I'm excited. I hope that if this is a properly big map, that we'll get a little bit of that, even with the wiki and even with the YouTubers, because I'm going to be making guides, of course. Like I don't mean to come down on the
people YouTubers, are going to use the compass. Guides.
But the thing is like, if it's big, like here's the thing, like the most recent map we got, Lighthouse, was really easy to figure out even if you didn't have it. You know what I mean? It was like once you realized that was south, and one of the extracts was like South Road, and you were like, oh, the road on the south. Boom. Yeah. And then it was like path to shoreline, and you're like walking along the thing and you can see the resort, and you're like, that's probably path to shoreline. And then northern checkpoint. You know what I mean? So it's like the whole map funnels you to the water treatment plant. That's all. That was the literal specific point of interest that sold that map. So we all figured it out pretty intuitively, really quick. If Streets is a giant square and it's all apartment buildings, you know what I mean? And it's like there's a movie theater here somewhere.
It'll probably be giant roads, like the UN roadblock kind of thing, in like 6 different corners of the map.
Exactly. So it'll be like there'll be a little bit more, especially with loot or quest locations. I'm hoping that there's a lot more, even if you've got the wiki up or the guide up or you watch the thing, you still spawn and you're like, where am I? Like, I know I need to get to the movie theater, but like, where am I from here? The guide, he spawned on this side of the map. Like, if it's big enough and it's not as like linear as Lighthouse was, then maybe we'll get a little bit of that feeling for a little bit longer. You know what I mean?
Dude, I'm reminded of my first video that I did on Tarkov. I think it's like, if at first you don't succeed, my first highlight video. And one of the clips is I'm sitting there staring at the map in game, dragging it around. Because you have to look at like rocks and water, and you literally had to triangulate, you know, to figure out like, okay, I'm looking at a rock and there's some water here.
Yeah.
If the water's on my right side, and I remember getting shot and being like, I was looking at the map. Come on. Yeah, I get SKS'd by a scav while I'm sitting there, standing out in the open looking at a map. But like those were, I'm looking forward to that for sure when it comes to streets. Like playing streets is going to be, now again, there's ups and downs. For 3 weeks, streets is going to be like this amazing new thing that it's going to bring back my excitement for Tarkov and whatever. And then I'll probably be like, it'll be once you learn everything.
Yeah.
All it is it's the same map now. It's not new. It's not fresh. I know where to go, and all of the quests on it are, dog or whatever. And so I'm excited for it
for sure.
And but hopefully it won't change the game
for sure. We need other things that, at least from the development perspective, what they've said are locked behind streets. We need actual like quests, end game. We need to get to the 1.0 state of the game to see how they want to do it. Because at one point they had said they want seasonal characters that wipe seasonally, characters that don't, like all this stuff that really fix like the longevity stuff. Like we need to just like get past this to get there and see what they're gonna do. But I am excited. It's interesting because like I'm super excited to like you said, like get lost on it, and like it's gonna be the new, like somebody put this in chat, like it's gonna be the new, like there's a guy by that tree, like on Woods, like if you're playing with a dude and you're like there's a guy in the bush, you know what I mean? It's like, oh thanks, there's lots, like it's gonna be like there's a dude in that window, you know what I mean? It's gonna be, because it's just gonna be like the urban version of that, so that's kind of exciting. So
on my nade,
on my nade, dude. The fact, it's so great, but yeah, so like I'm, my excitement for streets is as high as it's ever been. It's just like my expectation that it's coming in the next, X amount of time is as low as it's ever been. You know what I mean? So we're just chilling. We're just paddle your own canoe. I'm just floating down the river, but I'm super excited, obviously. So yeah, Halloween event ended. We got some pictures of streets, and then, yeah, I mean, the raids have just been a little dead recently. We got a lot of like newbies coming from the sale. A lot of new games have come out, which we'll talk about in a little bit, that I think have pulled. And then I do genuinely think there was like a large majority of people that like stopped playing because of the Halloween event. So like it's just been kind of whatever out there. I've actually been enjoying. I've been doing a little bit more solo streams and just like just completely mentally checking out and just like not caring what happens and just like vibing with chat has been like kind of fun.
Have you been playing Tarkov?
Yeah, solo, yeah.
And what's it? I see the third bullet point.
Oh, not like,
I want to know.
Not like weird. Just like I was saying, just like dead. Just like I like today I did like 4 shoreline raids in a row without seeing a single PMC. Like I just think that, it's hard. It's so obvious.
Because why is anybody gonna go shoreline?
I don't know. Why would anyone go anywhere? It's like, why would anyone go anywhere other than customs or lighthouse?
They all go customs in the first couple months, and it's like there's waves, right? Like the first week is everybody is maining customs because that's where all the things are.
Yeah,
and then it splits off into interchange and then some shoreline. And then later on, it ends up as reserve.
Yeah.
No, but there ends up being waves, so it kind of like overlaps.
Yeah, for
but
sure.
Then it's gotten to the point where all the waves have ebbed to the point where like everybody is either stopped playing or they've all
going customs.
So now it's like they just go for wherever the PvP is or wherever the loot is. And Shoreline, it just doesn't have that.
Yeah, the resort isn't what it used to be, but it's still decent loot. But the thing is, here's why I like to play Shoreline when I'm solo. Because I can completely turn my brain off and I always know what my objective is. Like no matter where I spawn, it's like run to the resort and loot the rooms. So like if I play Woods and there's nobody there, I get super bored because the only reason why I'm there, even though Woods is my favorite map, the only reason why I'm there is to snipe PMCs. And if I don't find PMCs, I'm super bored. And if I play customs solo, it's just like, it kind of just gets like, if I don't find people or if I find people, like, I feel like I die a lot because I'm just like, I get caught. I don't really know what I'm doing. I'm in story time. But like Shoreline is just perfect for playing solo because it's just like I SJ6, run to the resort. I can basically loot the resort without even looking. And then if I hear somebody, I get into a PvP fight. And if I don't hear somebody, I come out with a backpack full of loot. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's the perfect solo map for me. Everything is on autopilot and I can just like vibe with chat. And then if I hear somebody, I shoot at them and either they kill me or I kill them and we just do it again. So it's been kind of fun. And listen, if you're out there and you want to learn how to make money, all the Shoreline keys right now are like 40,000 rubles because they completely destroyed the economy of keys on the flea market. Because if you posted for 100,000 rubles, your fee is 120,000 rubles. So these keys that used to be 600,000 rubles are selling for 40K. You can get a full set of keys for like 300-400K and nobody's there. And it's like, you're not pulling out 3 Lennoxes per raid like you used to, but you're still walking out of there with 5, 6, 7, 800,000 rubles worth of loot. So boom.
Dude, think about like in the time you have to play. Think about all the combat you're gonna avoid to make millions and millions of rubles that you won't spend on gear.
Yeah.
That you won't use for PvP.
Yeah. No.
Because by the time that happens, the wipe will hit. And
I've got way too much stuff. I've got more stuff than I've ever. That was kind of like my my objective this wipe was just to get as much stuff as possible. Like, and this is the first wipe I've ever had more than 1 thick items case. I got 2 thick items cases, they're full. I got 4 items cases, they're full. I got 6 weapon cases, they're full. I got a thick weapons case.
That's how it was back in the day.
I got
filling up the EOD stash with cases, item cases.
Yeah. I just have a bunch of stuff and then like 30 million rubles or something like that. So it's like, yeah, there's no reason for me to be going and making money, but it's just like, if I'm with somebody, I'm basically shift Wing, pushing shots in PvP. But when I'm solo, it's just like the perfect thing to do so that I can just focus on vibing with chat because I can put my brain on autopilot because like no matter what spawn, I know the direction I'm going. I'm not having to think about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, and like the counter argument to what I just said is that some people just like that, and there's nothing wrong with that, right?
Yeah,
there's nothing wrong if you just like running around,
avoiding
everything and just like they like it in the same way that people like playing Minecraft on creative mode rather than like survival mode or whatever. Like just want to vibe. It's not about and that's totally fine. That's totally fine.
Yeah, for sure. But I mean, that's basically Tarkov. Just listen. Yeah, I don't know. There's nothing to say. It's just like everybody, the community sentiment is low. I understand it. I still have fun. And it's just, that the whole Tarkov experience is just like grating on my mental health, but not when I say the experience. I don't even mean just the game. You know what I mean? Like when I have a good 2 or 3 hours of just like vibing with chat, even if I don't find anyone, I am having fun. I am enjoying my, job. I am having a good time. It's like, it's so funny how like we just at this point in the wipe we just teeter on the edge. We're like 2 or 3 people in chat saying something super negative and it just falls off the cliff where you've said you've experienced this frustration before where it's like somebody says something super just like out of pocket, like the devs have abandoned the game, they're cashing in all their money and like we're never gonna get straights. And I'm like, and like while I'm formulating my response, somebody goes, "You're a garbage human being. Everything they've done is for the better. And it's because they're working on fixing the cheaters in the netcode." And then like all of a sudden in less than 15 seconds, I feel like I need to explain to both of these people why they're wrong. And that but in a way that convinces the rest of chat I'm not on either one of their team. Because while I'd like to believe it's because they're working on the netcode, we don't know that to be true. So I don't want to say that either. And I also don't think that they're just like Scrooge McDuck swimming in their mountains of gold and they're abandoning the game either. So it's like, I can have a few hours where it's just like, I'm having so much fun. I'm having fun playing the game. I'm not really dying to anything crazy or whatever. I'm having fun with chat. And then it's just like, we can take like a sharp 90-degree turn and all of a sudden the vibes are down and I die to crazy desync or I die to a cheater. And I'm like, oh God, you know what I mean? Like it's just, so that whole experience has been a mental health gymnastics these past few weeks.
Yeah. Well, speaking of that, and then before we transition over into the conversation about Dark and Darker, if you want to talk about Dark and Darker.
I do.
But what what sometimes things get dark and darker for you and your mental health. And I am 100% with you on that, which is why I want to thank today's sponsor once again, which I'm so stoked
Yes.
to be mutually supporting each other. BetterHelp.
Yes.
Once again, like I said, if you've listened to the podcast before, it's an online platform that provides a ton of mental health services. You can get counseling, whether it's you want to deal with issues at work, or if you have relationship problems, or if you're just feeling down, you're feeling depressed, you want someone to talk to. I like I said before, I've been going to BetterHelp for I don't know 1 or 2, somewhere between 1-2 years. That's where I found my therapist, and it was like the most convenient, super easy thing.
Yep.
It's super affordable. Yeah, it's been huge for my personal growth, improvement, development. Honestly, if it wasn't for therapy, I probably would have quit content creation a while ago.
Dude. Yeah.
Yeah.
So. It's crazy. Like there's so much tied up into it. You know what I mean? Like there's so much stigma around asking for help. There's so much stigma around seeking therapy. And like a lot of people think that they need like deep trauma, but like we've said before, you've shared your personal experience before. I've shared my personal experience of of spending years in therapy with my wife. And like, it really is just like tremendous, how like it obviously is helpful for that if you are struggling with something like real deep and traumatic, and something to have somebody there. But like, I wish so badly that I could express to people how much it's a preventative thing too. It's like, that was the analogy I used last time. It's like working out or eating healthy. Like if you're sick, eating healthier can make you well, but if you're well, eating healthier can make you well longer. And you know what I mean? And so like, that was the thing. It's like, we ended up going for a specific thing, and then ended up staying in therapy for years because we realized how tremendously valuable it was to gain outside perspective, but not just a friend, somebody who's trained to like challenge you and ask you questions and stuff like that. And so being able to go through that experience, both of us going through our own experiences, you specifically with BetterHelp, coming on the back end of it only with amazing things to say and actual like things we can point to in our lives. Like it's really, really cool. And it doesn't have to be like a traumatic thing. If you're anxious, if you've got something coming up that you're worried about, if you're just feeling like you don't know how to deal with all the nonsense that's happened over the past few years to all of us, like it is a tremendous, tremendous help. And the online aspect of it is huge. You know what I mean? Being able to write notes and message your therapist between sessions, scheduling is easier. Finding somebody that matches you is easier.
The UX, everything is and the biggest thing for me, and something I think a lot of people discount, is having and this comes easier to some people and more difficult for others, but just having someone that you can talk to and say basically anything without fear of judgment. And like it's actually really crazy how just saying something out loud that you wouldn't say to a friend or family member because they might misunderstand it or misinterpret it, or react potentially poorly. How just saying it out loud to another human being, sometimes that alone is like a thing that will help you weight off your shoulders. And also like you say it, the number of times I've said something and then been like, I know that's stupid. I know, like, but it took me to say it to realize it, so
for sure.
Anyway,
so huge thank you and shout out to BetterHelp. So when you want to be a better problem solver, therapy can get you there. You can visit betterhelp.com/podcast and get 10% off your first month. If you're interested, definitely head to betterhelp.com/podcast. 10% off your first month. Something we instantly jumped on. We're super excited to be partnering and working with them. So thank you again for sponsoring this episode.
Radical.
Now
that we paid the bills.
Yep. I saw you playing Dark and Darker. I didn't get to hang for very long, but I saw you playing it, and I have absolutely zero knowledge of what your opinion was of the game, and I'm very interested.
So have you played it?
Yes, I played it. I played like 3 or 4 hours of this play session. It's hard being on the
So
weekend.
my experience with it was not great, but I don't blame the game. It was like a last minute thing.
Okay.
I was on like a losing streak playing chess. I'm like, I need something. I'm like, oh, Dark and Darker.
Yeah.
So I downloaded it real quick. I was solo. It was like too late for me to try to find people to play with.
Yep.
And it's like, I'm like, I should just be able to, get a vibe for the game. And it was like spawn in instantly. The best part was I think I was like, not a barbarian. Is that the class? Not a fighter, but maybe it was barbarian.
Yeah.
Because that's just like the most brain dead, sword, shield, kind of whatever. And I like spawned in, walked over to a door, like hit F, and it was like, why is the door not opening? Without realizing you have to hold, for like a second or whatever while it opens. And all of a sudden I hear like the sound of bones, and my screen goes, and it's like back of the lobby. And I was like, oh, okay, I guess I just got killed by and I think I played like 6 raids, and all of them I either died with like the first enemy I came across, or there were a few where I killed what seemed like some mini bosses and looted a ton of like gems and other assorted stuff, and was like, yes. And then I kind of wandered around and then just ended up like kiting accidentally a million mobs around me while not being. Anytime I saw a player, I was like, nope, went the other way. Like totally avoided. And I don't even know how to exfil. I don't know what it looks like. So I just never survived. I always had the starting gear. I tried Barbarian. I tried the Rogue, which, the Ranger.
Yeah.
And the Rogue. And it just seems like the fact that like the first skeletons you see take like 11 hits to kill, or like 20 headshots with a bow to kill. It's like, oh man, like I think you just need a full party.
Yeah.
It seems like some balancing stuff that probably that should be like the third level deep,
Yeah. So it's really interesting because this is like they're doing 3 or 4 day alpha stress tests. Like One Peg got to interview the developers, and in the one that they did before, this is their second one. The first one, they were hoping to get about 300 players. And like Pestily picked it up, and Sequisha picked it up, and it was like, and so like last time the 3-day test was like 7 days, because the first 3 days there was just like the servers were down, they couldn't handle that many, so they're a little bit more prepared this time. They ended up doing a 5-day test, and I mean, like the other day I looked and Shroud was playing it, Pestily was playing it, Deadly Slob was playing it, Sequisha was playing it, Sacriel was playing it, Grims was playing it. It was like which is really cool, like to see. But to understand where they are, like these are like pre-alpha stress tests of their server.
This is Tarkov in 0.1.
Yeah. And so like a lot of stuff. So like the game tells you nothing, and once you learn a lot of this, it helps your perspective of the game. But like the game tells you nothing, but you also can't really discount it, because like they were only hoping there'd be a few hundred players and it would be their dedicated fan base. But like there are 3 levels, and this is level 2. So like these are harder enemies. You wouldn't normally be going down here with that starter gear. So like that's why everything was like just giga hard for the starter gear. And
it's cool that you always have a default kit.
Yes. So
I very much like that.
So that was like a really interesting mechanic to it, where it is a BR. I don't know if you noticed like the zone closing in. So it's a BR as well, but it's not a BR in the sense that like only one person can win. You can extract anytime you want. And the way the extractions work are, as the zone begins to close, blue portals will like stick up from the ground.
That's what I heard. Everybody's like, look for the blue portals. I just never survived.
And then you can open it up, and then you can extract. But here's the thing: they stick up from the ground, but it's only one. So if you're a solo, you can leave whenever you want. But if you're a team of 3, you kind of have to find 3 before you commit to leaving, or you're leaving somebody behind. And in the final zone, as the circle shrinks down deep and deep to its like final thing, a 3-way portal comes up. So like if you and your team make it to the end, you can all get out. But if you want to leave early, you're like leaving your team behind. But if you're solo, you can leave kind of just like to whatever portal you find. It definitely leans itself into the teams, because like the balance of like rogue, cleric, warrior or fighter. Or it's
They
like
all have inherent strengths and weaknesses
So
that
like
balance.
when we
yeah.
played, I was the ranger, Ben was the barbarian, and Seal was the cleric. So Ben would get up in personal. So like we started to find those synergies. And I realized that the rangers could place traps, and the doorways are such choke points. We would people would
The
come.
skeletons will just sit there walking, and you can.
So
yeah,
we
yeah.
would PvP, and like we would see people on the other door, and I'd have him close the door. I'd put a bear trap, and then we'd open the door. They'd come and hit it. I would do arrows. Our barbarian was going close, and then Seal was just healing us. And it was like we were finding a little bit of that synergy. But
That's awesome, dude.
but we basically only ever used the starter gear because we only extracted like once. It was and making
Dude,
money.
I gotta play. Invite me next time,
Bro, next time I wanted to do more, but we only did the one. I think they're announcing the next playtest next week. So like they're gonna be doing more, and we should absolutely. It was fun. It was like the thing is we were laughing so hard the entire time. And what gave us the ability to laugh so hard the entire time was the free kit. That was such an interesting thing to know that like if I die, I don't have nothing. Like I can just hop right back in. And because of that, they were allowed to be a little more brutal in the sense that like when you start, you have literally nothing in your stash, not a single gold.
The 0 to hero is like it's harder to get hero, but like when you do, it's a bigger reward.
Yeah, but you always have something.
And there's basically no risk. Yeah, I think I have a feeling that there is the possibility of being able to play solo. Now, I mean, it's also
sure.
I'm basing that off of no information, but assuming that there's like a linear difficulty, normally what you would do is, you know, the three of you would just completely demolish the first level, and you know, you'd start to hit that challenge, you know, at the third level or the fourth level or whatever. For me, it would be like I'll do the first level 2 or 3 or 4 times. You know, it's now I don't know how much the gear. I literally never used anything other than starter gear, so I have no idea.
Huge difference.
Yeah, so like, you know, maybe once you get the Giga Chad, you know, the chainmail giant bastard sword or whatever, you can just one shot everything.
Valiant played quite a bit, and like he had like good money, and I saw clips of him 1v3ing squads. Like once you like, that's the thing. It's like I played like 3 or 4 hours, and I was like, man, I'm just tasting it. Like there is a skill ceiling on like the I don't know if you noticed, but like
there's a whole skill tree and perks and all kinds of other stuff.
If you have a sword, as you click, your crosshair changes shapes, and it's showing you the direction your sword is going to hit. So there's all sorts of metas of like
it's when like Mordhau light.
But light, exactly. Same thing with spears. Then you have bow and arrow, and you can have a primary and secondary weapon. So like being able to bow and then taking out like a short sword or a dagger as like a ranger to fight up close. The gear makes a big difference in like how much damage you can do and how many headshots you need to down a player or to down enemies. There's all sorts of like potions. There's like an invisibility potion. There's potions that heal you. There's skills and skill trees. And like the skill tree is locked. We haven't been able to use that. But then there's perks and perk trees. And you can have multiple perks applied. And like there's all sorts of synergy. And then there's like a whole stats thing. Like every character has like a constitution number and like strength and health.
Like
and like
it's D&D basically.
Yes. I mean, I don't know if you know that. Like they were like, I want to make D&D plus Tarkov, and they made this game. Like that was literally like the inspiration was like they were like, I want to make a Dungeons and Dragons video game. So like so it's like there's a lot of
that's basically been like 950 billion video games have been D&D based. Like basically every RPG is essentially D&D in a different setting with different names for different perks, but
So like it's really cool. I think they're gonna add VoIP. I think somebody said that, and they need to, because like there was one time where we found a squad and we were all doing this, and like we just like went our separate ways. So like we need
the wiggle, but not the wiggle.
The teabag, basically.
Crouch.
So and then I didn't get to do any of this, but there's a whole marketplace like the old school RuneScape where you just type looking to buy great sword with at least 50 damage. And you just put it in a chat, and somebody goes, I have that, and you initiate a thing, and they put it in, and like,
oh god, RMT incoming.
Yeah. So like, I don't know, man. I didn't get to any of the end game gear. I didn't get to any of the like. I sucked. We died all the time. But like when I first watched the first playtest, I was like, I am not interested in this at all. And then everyone said it was so good and it's free. So I was like, I'll give it a
Same.
go. And like we were laughing so hard. It was so much fun. It's so interesting. It's slow and it's clunky and there's no sprint and there's definitely some balancing things they need to do. But like
Dude,
for
I'm envisioning some like late game sick ass PvP, like
Yeah.
how you used to see Diablo 2 with, you know, sorcerers and hammertons flying around and you have smiters charging in
Yep.
and like I can envision that sort of thing being like sick.
Yep.
Like old school COD montage, like people who are actually competent and
Yep.
teams and squads
Yep.
would be so rad,
It would
dude.
be so sick. And then there's the red portals take you down to the hell level. And that's where like the bosses are.
Where all the
And-
cows are.
Yeah. And then there's like these big bosses and harder enemies and more loot and like legendary gear and stuff like that. And it's all
Dog, I couldn't even kill a
yeah,
skeleton
it's
man.
brutal. And it's all full loot extraction PvP. So you die. There's rezzing. You can res teammates. So the cleric has a skill where he can res, or if you have a teammate that dies,
Mercy.
you can take their soul and bring it to an altar and res them.
That's sick.
It's sick, dude.
Oh man, yeah, no, I'm excited. Like I said, I didn't really have a great time,
Yeah.
but it's not the game's
Yeah.
fault. I'm like it's the play test is the play test and it's early and you know you got to be more forgiving. It's going to take 10,000 hours for me to be bitter and say the game's dog shit and I hate it and you know to have a
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. But
yeah.
the only thing that makes me sad about it is how early they are in development with it. You know what I mean? Because it's like, I'm like, man.
Dude, we're gonna get it before Streets. They're gonna get
Yeah.
released with fucking darker before Streets.
But that's
you
the
know
thing
it.
is it's like, I'll want to play a few more of these playtests, but I get to a point where it's like, what brings me back to a game is progression. So after 3 or 4 playtests, I'm going to be like, I'm excited for Dark and Darker, but I want to play the freaking game. And so until they either go early access or release the game, I know my interest is going to fall off after a few more playtests. And it's
Do you
like,
think our progression is going to be saved with the next playtest?
no, it wasn't from the first to the second playtest, and I doubt that it would be. It could be, but I doubt that it would be. But it absolutely has me excited. It absolutely has my attention. It absolutely innovates on the genre, both in setting and in mechanics. I'm just interested to see. But I had fun. I was laughing so hard. Like there's a charm to the Papega slow combat. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's weird. It's got like I don't even want to say this because I think it's like it's almost like Mario Party vibes, but like not where it's just like it's hilarious kind of hijinks with your friends.
Yes.
Less about the actual like gameplay, but more just it's not.
And it can be
It's
that
like much less serious than like a PUBG where when you die, you know, it's like, yeah, I don't know.
It can be that because of the free gear. So like it can be as stressful as Tarkov when you take out this like Omega freaking legendary sword and your armor. It can be as stressful and heart pounding, but it can also be casual hijinks because you're not losing stuff if you're just using the standard gear. Like, you know what I mean? So like,
yeah, that's the thing. It's weird having a marketplace like that when everything's ephemeral.
yeah,
Like in Tarkov. I mean, I guess that's just a flea market, but yeah, I totally forgot that like you lose your gear,
Yeah.
right, when you die.
And there's no
So-
insurance.
Interesting. That'll be weird if like you have
is
like a
gonna be
level
interesting.
90 character with all these perks, but you don't have like I mean, by then you'll probably have like they won't be able to have the kinds of rarities and stats and everything as every other RPG of the genre ish that I've ever played. Like Skyrim, you don't lose your when you die. Diablo, you don't lose your when you die. So having to farm for 100, 200, 300 hours to get the 1 in 10,000 drop or whatever, like that's part of what was really cool about Diablo.
Yeah.
Skyrim, was it's just a completely different experience.
Yeah.
But it's going to be weird. Like
It'll be like RuneScape.
it's going to have to be a lot more common.
Yeah, because like in RuneScape, in the wilderness, it was full loot PvP, and they had an open marketplace. I know RuneScape, famously almost died to RMT, LOL. But it'll be interesting.
I wonder, like, it'll actually be amazing if you were to get good enough. If, like, there's a world in which when you got good enough, you could survive like 10, 15 raids on average in a row, like with your squad, if you have a good cleric and you guys work together, whereas like that's less common in Tarkov.
Yeah.
I feel like you have a lot more control given that the time to kill is going to be presumably a lot longer. Like, I don't think you're going to be getting, I mean, I can't really say, right? But like, I couldn't one shot anything, so, if your health pool scales with the damage and whatever, as you level up, maybe that wouldn't work, especially if there's no matchmaking. I don't know. There's just a lot of really interesting things that they'll have to keep in mind and balance as they go forward. It's one of those things like they could completely screw it up and get it totally wrong. Like imagine if you're in if you're in raids with people with max level gear and they have 10,000 HP.
Yeah.
And you're doing 7 damage.
Yeah.
Like
with your starter gear. It's like there's just no universe where you win that. It's not like Tarkov where you can take a Makarov and place a lucky shot to a guy with a ULAC. It's like you're just not going to win. Yeah.
Yeah, so there's going to be some interesting considerations, I think, around how they balance things.
Yeah.
Because you want to be able to... It's just like skills and perks in Tarkov, where it's like, if they aren't giving you a meaningful, noteworthy advantage in your gameplay, then what's the point of progressing and grinding to unlock them? But then if it's a meaningful and it's a big deal, then it gives you a massive advantage over the people, it's like the rich get richer.
Exactly.
The rich get richer.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see how they tackle that challenge.
For sure. Because Tarkov hasn't figured it out. Oh, and and the queue times are 12 seconds, so that's a huge help.
And they're only gonna get shorter the more people that play.
Yeah, seriously.
Well, I mean, I guess it depends on if they, if they're able to keep up with the servers. But I mean, it seems like so far they have been able to. I haven't seen anybody complaining about the servers going down, but then again, I haven't been paying a ton of attention, so who knows.
So super sick, very interested. If you're interested in anything we've said, go follow. I think it's Iron Mace Games on Twitter. Though they post about their stress test. It's free on Steam. You just go to the page and request access when they do it. And
wait, are they gonna have like a subscription or like how is it gonna?
I have no idea. I don't know if they've posted a development roadmap. I don't know if they've posted monetization plans. Like if you're gonna pay for the game, if it's gonna be a subscription. I know very little about the game other than just the playtest, and it was fun. So I'll definitely be playing more. So that happened this last weekend, and then also the release of the Call of Duty multiplayer, which
I heard nothing but people complaining.
Yeah. So
I didn't play it myself.
It's really interesting. Like, people either absolutely love it or absolutely hate it. Like, it's crazy. Like, millions of people are like, this is the best Call of Duty in a really long time. And so many people millions of people think it's the worst Call of Duty they've ever made. Like, it really divided the player base because they came down really hard on like a lot of the movement, like bunny hopping and slide canceling and stuff like that. I have no skin in this game because I haven't played a Call of Duty for more than 5 or 10 hours since Black Ops 2. And and I've never slide canceled or bunny hopped in a COD game in my life. I didn't know what either of those things were until I started hearing that people were complaining that they were gone. So I have no skin in the game. But because we talked last week about like, and I think you even got a little bit more excited about like when I was talking about some of those DMZ leaks and like some of the like potential there with the big map and like all this like it could be cool. So I've been playing with it. I've been playing Call of Duty a little bit, like just to like shake
Was it
off
any different from when we played?
a little bit. Like they changed a little bit, not much though. But I've been just kind of like trying to shake off the dust, get back into that mindset with those kind of guns, learn the guns, learn what's fun before DMZ comes out on the 16th.
Mhm.
One, I will say, man, my time with the 6v6 arena shooter, like at least in Call of Duty, that's just like not fun to me anymore. Like dude, it's just like people have just squeezed in the years since Black Ops 2. You know, people have just like squeezed the every ounce of it out, and they're so good, and I'm so bad that it's just like I'm kind of chill. You know what I mean?
I loved free for all. Like free for all,
Yeah,
it was like the only game mode that I really played. It's where I put most of my time in,
yeah,
just because it's like you don't have to worry about having dog team members or making sure your friends
Yeah.
are online. You can play at whatever pace you want.
yeah. But that being said, there's a lot of it that I really like. I really like the like the movement. Like I don't know, it's kind of the same. It has me interested for like what DMZ could be, because the movement is much slower than a normal Call of Duty. Time to kill is really interesting. Like I would wager that time to kill in COD on average is shorter than Tarkov. Like with the exclusion of the voodoo head tap, it takes more shots to kill somebody in Tarkov most of the time than
And I think
in Call of
I
Duty.
think a lot of that has to do with it's two things. It's having dog ammo against high tier armor. It's the balancing of that. That's like half of it, and the other half of it is it's just so much easier. Like you don't have the weapon sway and a lot of the what feel like not RNG elements, but like when you move your mouse, it goes directly where you put your mouse.
Yeah.
There's no sway. You don't have to wait for the thing to settle. So it's like you just hitting all of your bullets where you want to much easier, as opposed to needing to spray. And then also, oh no, go ahead.
Well, I was just saying, and it's the globalized health pool. I can hit you in the toes. If I hit you in the toes 3 times, you die. If I hit you in the thorax 3 times, you die. Like that plays such a huge part in it. You know what I mean? Like, whereas Tarkov, you can have good ammo, but if I hit you in the leg, it's gonna take me 11 bullets. You know what I mean? Like no gun in Call of Duty, I think, has a longer than like 4 to 5 bullet time to kill anywhere on the body. And like even like 8.5, what's how many shots to the leg does 8.55A1 need to kill you? You know what I mean? So it's like, and because of all the shenanigans with like the arm hitboxes and stuff like that, like time to kill is definitely longer in Tarkov.
Yeah. Which is funny because like, people talk about that as like a hardcore element of Tarkov.
Exactly.
Just because you can get like one shot with a Makarov,
yes.
But like you can get one shot with a Makarov with like full gear if they don't have like a face shield, right? But at the same time, you can have a kitted assault rifle shooting, mid-tier ammo, full auto at somebody's center mass, and it can take 9 bullets to kill somebody, right? It's like this terrible, weird dichotomy that just never feels right. You're either the one that sprays that the person doesn't die, or you're the one that gets one tapped by a guy who risked nothing. So
if anything, as somebody that's interested in DMZ for the extraction based element, I do wish the time to kill in Call of Duty was longer. Like most people wish the time to kill in Call of Duty was longer because it used to be longer and they're just mad that it's changed. But like they made it shorter to make it a more hardcore, realistic experience for DMZ and for these other modes. And as somebody who's excited for those modes, I wish it was a little longer to make it a little bit more skill based. You know what I mean? Like maybe split
I feel like it's
difference.
like 80 or 90% of the average TTK as like COD 4, which I think had like a really good just time to kill. Every gun felt right. It shot slower, but bullets did more damage, or it had a little bit more recoil. But like there was they tweaked all those knobs kind of similar to how like like classes are in like an RPG, where it's like this person can heal you but they don't do a lot of damage, right? It's like it's the same kind of balancing. But to me, and this is the reason why, I mean, I've talked about this before when I talked about Mordhau. I think having a higher time to kill. Now, you get to the point where it's like when I see the Division.
Yes, there's
like that to me is just way too much.
There's diminishing returns.
Yeah, but in general, once to a reasonable threshold, higher time to kill is more fun and more skill based for everybody. And the reason why is you have more time to play the game.
Yeah,
you're not. You see someone, you're dead. You see someone, you're dead. You see someone, you're dead. At least you get a chance to like aim your gun and shoot back. Even if you lose the fight, at least being able to fight back is a lot more fun than just insta dying. So it was kind of, I wasn't a massive fan of, when we played that first day. Every time I'd be like trying to be tactical and whatever, and all of a sudden instantly I'd hear and a guy would slide in with a shotgun, pop up, and bang, one tap me with and it's like, you can't aim, like, give me some time.
And I think it's exacerbated by the fact, like, of what Exactly. Is that not a word? I feel like that's
exacerbated sound.
Okay.
We're gonna have to make this an explicit.
It's by the fact that
my dad caught me exacerbating the other day. By
the fact that, like, just the nature of Call of Duty, because you get to the end of some of these matches and like there's 3 chopper gunners in the air and they're calling down mortar strikes, and it's literally like spawn explode, spawn get sniped, spawn explode, spawn get chopper gunnered, spawn, because then the other team is like they're holding all the lanes with snipers and there's 3 chopper gunners in the air and it's like woof, you know what I mean? So like, now a really good point is Dart said in chat that like Warzone, which is like what DMZ is going to be a part of, basically has the armor pouches, the 3 slots. So it's going to have this TTK plus some. So it might have literally been balanced around Warzone and DMZ, and then they just removed the armor mechanic for multiplayer. And so it might be chef's kiss, because I wouldn't want it to be, like we said, too much. I don't want it to be bullet spongy. So like with the armor in Warzone, and I'm assuming the armor system is going to be in DMZ as well, it could be like perfect. And those are the modes that I'm excited about. So that's really all I care about. But it's just like interesting that the time to kill is so, like, it's so funny. People are like there are parts of that game that are like less, I don't know, like the thing that gets me all the time is like in Call of Duty, you can't be sprinting and reloading at the same time. You know how many times I died because like I, shot somebody, sprinted away, and then pressed R, and then I flipped the corner, and in Tarkov, I'm used to reloading while sprinting, and then I get to the corner, and I go click, or he resumes the reload animation when you let go of sprint. So I flick the corner, and I'm on the guy's head, and he's like, and I die. I'm like, oh my God, like I can't get used to that, because in Tarkov, you can run and reload at the same time.
That sounds like the worst of all possible worlds. Is that like it stops reloading, and then like either make it stop reloading, like when you hit shift to run, it stops, it cancels it.
Yeah. So I can shoot whatever I have left in my mag.
Yeah. Or make it so that I can reload while running, and maybe it's like there's maybe it takes 10%, 20% longer or something.
Like if you're empty,
but do not make it so that it cancels it and then it interrupts, because it's like now you're doing 2 massive things that I don't explicitly want you to do.
Yeah.
That's
if you shoot out all the way to empty, you start a reload and you seat the mag in and then sprint, you'll run, and when you turn, he'll smack the bolt. And you're like, oh, I was so close. Like it like,
oh, well, I mean, I think that's better than it could be.
Yes, it's better than restarting the animation, but it's just like really interesting.
Yeah, I think the hard part too is that like obviously if you're running away from somebody, or if it's like a tense situation, you want to start running as soon as you can.
Yes.
And it's like there isn't a clear indication of, and this is when we talked about the whole immersion versus realism and abstracting abstracting things like trigger pull and being able to click a mouse super fast, but the disconnect between not feeling the trigger and having and having that, like, you would be able to feel the limitations of the trigger.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
shooting slower wouldn't be terrible.
Yeah.
In real life, if you pull the trigger 17 times and it shot 8 bullets, like, something's wrong with the gun, right? But
Yeah.
that's what happens in Tarkov when they added those
Yeah.
limits. It's the same thing with the reloading, where it's like I don't feel the smack and the putting the hand on the thing. I don't feel seating the magazine, so it's like you kind of just need to, like, learn the tempo of it. But
Yeah.
it would just be nice if there was some other way.
And it really is like, Jesse, just get good. Like Call of Duty players, that's like, don't complain about that at all, because that's how it's
Yeah,
always
it's
been.
not a
So
huge
like
thing.
they know to get to cover first, then finish the reload. You know, I'm just like using my Tarkov knowledge.
Yeah,
But it's
and I'm
just-
talking about it from a perspective of just, like, interesting game design
For sure.
conversations. I'm not like,
For
it's
sure.
not make or break for me, you know. It's
But like that's the thing, is like all of the people, all of the things that the people are like giga malding about on Twitter. It's skill-based matchmaking, the removal of bunny hopping, the removal of slide canceling, and stuff
wait,
like
so
that.
they removed those things?
Yeah, slide canceling and bunny hopping. Yeah. So like when you like you used to be able to just like jump around and shoot, but now when you jump, if you try to jump again, it like takes forever. And now when you slide, you can't cancel out of that slide. You have to fully go through the slide animation, then get back up, then you can shoot again. So
Well, those sound like amazing changes, because
Yeah,
those were
so guys
two of
like
the things
me-
that were super annoying.
yeah. And that's
okay,
been the
I missed
split.
that earlier.
That's been the split. Hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people are like, oh my God, like, thankfully they've removed those things. And then all the people that are like pros are really into it. As weird as those were, that was a skill gap. It was a mechanic to master. And if you can master it, it measurably showed that you were better than your opponent. So those people are really mad because it's encouraging, just similar to how Tarkov is. Anytime you add any sense of realism, it promotes a slower and much campier. Like, what's like the objectively best way to play Tarkov? Sit at the extract. It's your least likely to die and you're most likely to win. Nobody likes to play that way. It's how we'd all play in real life, which is why realism falls apart. And so that's where like the people at the top loved those things as a skill gap and are sad that it pushes people to basically just hold angles now, and they can't slide cancel in, because that's how they would counter that. They would slide in really fast, cancel out of the animation, and kill somebody who was camping behind a corner. Well, now you just got to swing the corner, and if the camper's got, you know, his mini map up, he's going to be able to kill you. So I get it. I'm just
I
so
think it's an
far
improvement. Yeah.
I'm just so far removed from COD to like care or have a real opinion on the issue.
The
So
biggest thing
I'm
I've
excited
seen,
for Warzone DMZ, basically.
yeah, the biggest thing I've seen all over Twitter are all the clips of people on controller with the aim assist.
The aim assist is insane.
How busted it is. Have they said anything about balancing that? Have they changed anything?
No, I don't
that
know
seems
that.
like completely like I would rather play with controller, I think, than mouse and keyboard.
I don't know that they've ever said anything about that. And it's actually insane. Like, some of these clips are actually insane. And what blows my mind is like, I really.
It's like aimbot.
Yeah.
Like, literally.
What blows my mind is like, I think down deep, if a genuinely balanced version of aim assist ever happened, almost everybody would unanimously agree that it should probably be like it's pretty cut and dry, in my opinion, that like with no aim assist, it's so much easier to be accurate with mouse and keyboard. So it's like, we should give them something, but it's like, it's turned to 11 or 12. And like, I don't understand why we haven't tried a 6. You know what I mean? Where it's like, it helps them out, but you still have to be good. I mean, clips of people like, it's just completely following people in circles. Like, it's crazy. And then of course it just like, it's like the perfect breeding ground for the shenanigans of the internet, where it's like, if you don't think there should be aim assist, then you're, you know, this person or that person. You like, get good. If aim assist was really that bad, all the pros would be using it. It reminds me that I'm glad that I'm not like really uber in that community or whatever, because like, it's crazy. But like, from an outside perspective, it seems absolutely ridiculous. Whoever was like, yes, it should be tuned that high. It seems stupid. It's like literal cheats. And I don't understand why we haven't attempted it at like a lower threshold. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it like what came to mind was I can see both sides of it. I feel like it might actually be fun because you feel kind of like a god with a controller. in the same way as like, did you ever play baseball growing up?
Like T-ball.
Okay, well, so I mean, you fielded a ground ball and
Yeah,
like
yeah,
threw it to
yeah.
first base. Okay, well, I'm just picturing like, you ever if you're playing like second base and they hit like a hard hit ground ball up the middle kind of thing, and you're running and you kind of backhand catch it, and you got to do that whole turn around and
Yeah,
throw
yeah,
to
yeah,
first
yeah.
base. How awesome it was to be able to like do the whole jump, turn, and throw. The if you could guarantee that the ball would go basically towards the person and they could they would catch it, then you could do some crazy sick
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
because you would just like 180 chuck it and you would look like Nomar Garciaparra from 1999. You'd feel like a god, right? But
Yeah.
instead, if you try to do that because you're off balance and all whatever, you throw it into the fucking
Yeah.
stands, and your coach yells at you for not just like planting your feet and taking a controlled
Yeah.
but yeah, it's what do what let me ask this question. Why crossplay?
Well, the thing is,
If there's a million people playing a game like Call of Duty, then they don't need crossplay.
most people, not most, a lot of people play with controller on PC because of how good aim assist is. So here's the thing. If you're on console, you can turn off crossplay. If you're on PC, you can't turn off crossplay.
Yeah,
and if you're on PC, people use controller anyway. So it's like
Yeah,
freaking crazy.
no, that makes sense. I was thinking like PlayStation got aim
Yeah.
assist, but PC doesn't. But it's the okay.
Yep,
Yep.
just
I feel you.
Just plug in a controller. It's great, and it's so good.
Well, wait a minute. So then, so make it crossplay, but input based. All the controller people play against all the controller people. All the keyboard and mouse people play against.
I was saying that
because can't you use keyboard and mouse technically on like PlayStation if you have the? I've seen people do that.
Yeah.
I think you have to. Like,
I was
hack
saying
some
that.
shit together,
I was like,
but...
I'd pay a $5 a month subscription to just only play against keyboard and mouse people. Like, you know what I mean?
I mean, maybe that's a stupid solution, but it's like then you don't have to balance these two drastically different.
Well, the solution is just like, it's just crazy. It just seems like balance it more. Like I know it's complicated. I know it's more complicated than that, but there's gotta be like there has to be a middle ground between literal hard-coded cheats in the game where you just like follow people and nothing. Like there's gotta be a middle ground there.
You've got a bunch of middle school. We're going back to baseball. A bunch of middle school baseball players playing against a team of previously professional MLB people that are blind, but they have like magnetic gloves and like very strong magnetic gloves that in the ball's magnetic too. So like they just have to know the general direction, put their hand out, and then they get it, and then they just throw it.
Yeah,
it's like how do you balance that ridiculous example that I came up with that nobody would ever have to actually balance?
Yeah, I don't know.
There's a lot of listen. I've been meaning to bring this up for a long time. There's a lot of people don't talk about this, and I think people need to talk about this more. All of the previously professional baseball players that all ended up getting blinded later in their careers inexplicably. This is something that everybody.
This is important.
Listen, nobody's talking about it, and read the literature. Read the literature.
Read the literature.
I know everybody's going to call me a social justice warrior because I'm fighting for the blind baseball players or whatever but this is important. This is the reason why I bring it up.
Read the literature. So that's the thing. Like the big things.
Took a weird turn.
Yeah, it took a weird turn. From the big criticisms that I can get behind are like aim assist seems nuts and skill-based matchmaking just isn't fun. But then they announced they're doing ranked play, which will help. And all that stuff is about multiplayer, which I truly don't care about the multiplayer. I'm only going to be playing the multiplayer until Warzone and DMZ comes out. And then if I don't like either of those, I'm just going to stop playing Call of Duty. So I don't even care to get into the like intricacies of like how the multiplayer functions. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I am truly like stupendously bad at this game though. Like really bad. Like I have like 5,500 hours playing video games on a PC with a mouse and keyboard, and 5,400 of those hours are Escape from Tarkov. I have no like chops to rely on. I learned.
Dude, it's like 5%. You would think that there would be like the skills would carry over, but it's like Valorant, 98% carries over to CS:GO.
Yeah.
But Tarkov and COD and CS:GO are like three complete. In fact, you'd probably be better off not having played Tarkov.
Yeah, no,
because
yeah,
you're not expecting everything to feel.
Genuinely, I think you'd be like that's what I'm saying. Is that like for like most of my life I was like single player Andy, Fallout, The Witcher, Skyrim, Oblivion, Last of Us. Like these were the games I liked to play
on medium difficulty.
I would throw down on Halo 3 or Call of Duty with my friends, but I never considered like how to get better at those games. Like, I was just like run forward, die, whatever. So now, and as an adult, I've spent 5,000 hours mastering German, the language, like literally mastering it. And then I got off a plane in freaking China and everybody's speaking Mandarin and they're so good at it. And I'm like, bro, I have one skill set and it's Tarkov, and 1% of that skill set applies here. Like, I am just so stupendously bad. Like, I just get killed from behind no matter where I'm getting sniped from behind. I'm getting moved. My KD's 0.2. I'm so bad. And I know that it's me. Like, I know that it's just like, just get good. Like, I just need to play more, but it's like, woof. Like, I am really bad at Call of Duty. And I'm really just bad at anything that's not Tarkov, because my entire career playing video games, like, so many people like played so many, like CS, Valorant, Call of Duty, Modern Warfare 2, like back in the day. I have none of those skills to rely on. I literally just know how to play Escape from Tarkov.
Yeah, see, actually, now that I think about it, like my memories of COD are all on controller. Like, it's all Xbox. So, yeah, it's a different beast.
But even then, even when I was playing on controller, I never once considered like how to get my KD up. I just played COD to hold forward and shoot at people. Like, you know what I mean?
Dude, all
I never
COD
played an objective game ever.
No, the objective games. A hardcore search was okay, but just because you could use guns like the G3 and like one tap, or like even pistols, and they'd be fun. But dog, I would play free for all, Modern Warfare 2, and COD 4. Also the cage match 1v1.
Oh yeah,
on shipment was so much fun. But my goal was always to try to get to 30 kills before the person in second place got to 10. It's like, I want the leaderboard to be 30 kills, game's over, and have it be like 7, 6, 5, 3, 2, 0, 0, 0, and they all have like 15 deaths or whatever, and they're screaming hacker. That was my shit.
Yeah.
But that was when like people, not everybody had like $150 gaming headset. It was like 1 out of 10 people had Turtle Beaches.
Yeah.
And nobody would be rocking Dead Silence. And if they didn't have Dead Silence and you were running Dead Silence, so your footsteps made 0 noise, and their footsteps made the loudest noise, and you had Turtle Beaches, you might as well, like, it's better than radar on all the time. Yeah. So you would just
9 out of 10 people were using their plasma TV speakers. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like,
yeah, it was bad.
Yeah. But yeah, so Call of Duty's fun. The weapons are all really cool. They're animated really cool. They feel pretty cool. They added a lot more, like the recoil is like, you have to actually worry about it. There's like weapon sway. There's tons of attachments. The movement is slower. Like, the thing I kept saying over and over again when I was playing was like, man, I'm really interested with these movement and these types of guns where the average engagement distance is pushed back. Like, you get into close quarters fights a lot in Tarkov, but you also get into medium range fights a lot. Like, when you're playing the 6v6 modes, it's like there's a shotgun down my throat every 3 seconds. You know what I mean? Like, that is the engagement distance. So it's really flick driven. How are your flicks? Like, boom, headshot. But in Tarkov, it's more about positioning, flanking, and map knowledge to get the kill. You know what I mean? Like, and of course, you can go dorms, you can go resort and get the flick stuff too. But I want this game with this movement at a medium to long range engagement distance, which is what Warzone and DMZ are most likely going to be, because they're going to be played on that giant map. You know what I mean? So I'm still very interested, even though I'm like really terrible at COD and I'm not going to be playing a whole lot of the multiplayer. It's still, even playing it has me even more excited for those games and those modes. So it'll be interesting. We got 2 weeks, less than 2 weeks now. So
we will see.
We'll see. So
Indeed.
But yeah.
I'm ready to. I'm trying to hit 1,000 elo in chest tonight.
Oh hell yeah!
Get that newbie milestone.
That's sweet elo.
Yeah,
Yep.
man.
All right. Well, that's all the stuff. That's all the gaming news. Thank you again, BetterHelp, for sponsoring the video. Thank you guys so much for hanging, or not the video, for this podcast, this episode. Thank you guys for hanging. We appreciate you being here. We'll see if there's any new gaming news. Maybe we'll get some more Streets pictures this week. And yeah, but this will be live early next week on all the platforms. Dude, suck that sweet copium. Just like, anyways. But thank you guys for hanging. Love you a long time, and we'll definitely see y'all on the next one.
Peace.